समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Many analytical takeaways and lessons will emerge from Operation Sindoor in the course of time. Who knows if there are more episodes left in this story and what the next one might be. For now, let's follow our familiar 3-example rule and examine some standout points from the operation. The first, of course, is how does one secure surprise when the other side has been in a most heightened state of alert for 14 days, fully mobilized, assets airborne, concepts and doctrines fine-tuned and rehearsed, missiles locked and loaded. The second, the optics, packaging and headline management for India's riskiest moment in a generation. And third, the audacity that it needed to take risks of this magnitude, to game the escalation ladder and tolerance/acceptance levels. The most remarkable is the surprise. With Uri and Pulwama, the Modi government had set a template. Everybody in Pakistan and indeed in India knew the strikes were not a matter of whether but when. There were many who said these retaliations must take place within 24 hours, if not immediately after the killings, or the Overton window keeps shrinking. Why wait out for a full 14 days then? You can be sure that the armed forces would have wargamed this response. There has been an inevitability to major terror attacks in India since 13th December 2001. That was the parliament attack. There is one big attack always around the corner. The forces did not use these 14 days to make fresh plans or to acquire a new weapons system. Why the long wait then? Conjecture is that this was needed to take away that predictability. The other side also saw the Overton window shrinking, and that contributed to that window of a few seconds, no more than 30 seconds of surprise becoming available. You can be sure that the Pakistanis knew when the IAF aircraft took off, which type these were and what their likely targets were. You can also be sure that the PAF flew their best equipped aircraft parallel to these on their side. The question was, how would they determine that IAF wanted to fire and when to bounce them? It was in that situation, when fully visible to the other side, your general intention pre-announced that those seconds of surprise needed to be found. Just enough to line up the target, shoot and start the journey home. The fact is, the weapons were launched right under the eye of the PAF. The Modi government utilized these 14 days to build an impression that there was no hurry, that it might even follow the advice of many of its social media supporters to strangle Pakistan with a long rope, blocking them at IMF, reopening FATF, and keep squeezing them on the Indus River waters issue. We can now see that even the action on the waters was part of the same grand deception. That India would prefer the safer and slower approach of starving Pakistani farmers of water rather than risk an armed conflict with uncertain outcomes, that was seen to be a credible theory. The PM had big meetings on daily basis. The cabinet committees, including the Cabinet Committee on Security, there was one with the combined one with the service chiefs, NSA and Raksha Mantri, and then with individual chiefs, Army Navy Air Force, NSA and Defense Secretary. These were individual meetings, all on camera. One evening, the government let the word drop that a big announcement was coming up after a cabinet meeting. It was the caste census. An impression was created that the government was letting public anger dissipate. The India-UK FTA was announced and celebrated. Modi went to the ABP News Summit and delivered his usual Viksit Bharat speech with just a mention of Indus waters. That again was a distraction, we can now see. For the next day, a large air power exercise was scheduled in the Rajasthan sector. A couple of other exercises had already been held, so this also seemed like buying time. For the day after this, nationwide civil defense drills were called again as if to drag things along. Even on the night and early hours of 6 and 7 May, as fighters took off, Pakistanis must have tracked them in parallel. It is probably the repetitiveness of such activities with no outcome that created those few seconds of surprise. Whatever the Pakistani claims, those weapons hit their targets. Indian weapons hit their targets. The optics and messaging with the codename addressed to Indian women who were made to watch the men in their family killed by terrorists in Pahalgam, two women officers underlining the jointmanship of our forces and multiple diversities of our people. The briefing was measured minus the grandstanding or jingoism. Please note also how the social media handles on the BJP's right rectified their position on Himanshi Narwal and her secular liberalism. They were words of regret and even advised to fellow comrades not to fall into the divisive trap. In the briefing today, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said the objective of the massacre was to trigger communal riots across India, and it's a compliment to Government of India and people of India that did not happen. Also part of the messaging was the fact that learning the lesson from Balakot, this time they were pictures. They were pictures, you could actually see the bombs dropping and taking down those buildings, so the evidence was there. Now we come to the third, the audacity. This was a risky move and at the very least entailed possible casualties. After Pulwama, the PAF knew for sure there would be an attack. The risk was failure and finally of an uncontrollable escalation, particularly if the bombing succeeded. This is by far the riskiest action by Modi in more than a decade that he's been in power. Especially now with so many ongoing wars in the world, distractions. Russia is war weary. The Trump administration makes it even more uncertain. To sum up, while all of this is so far so good, the ball is now in Pakistan's court. How they want to play, what they can do with it, what they want to do with it, and how prepared we are to counter them. This will script the next episode of this story. So please do stay with us.